What's up YouTube? It's your girl Syd. I'm back with another video. This video wasn't requested or anything, but I feel like it would be beneficial to people going into nursing or any kind of healthcare field where they have day shift and night shift, which most places do unless you're kind of an outpatient facility. And I also felt like there weren't many videos on here about the pros and cons of day shift versus night shift while you're still in school. So today's video is going to be me discussing the benefits, pros and cons, weighing which one is better in my opinion, and more so like the factual pros and cons of working day shift and night shift. So before we get started, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and like this video. Alright, so if you see me looking down, it's because I have a little sloppily done list here to reference the pros and cons that I'm speaking of and sort of weighing which one is better than the other in my opinion for me during school and just how I function. So a portion of this video will be answering a few questions that I know I had, discussing the pros and the cons of either day shift or night shift, and then talking about which one I prefer and why. So the first little bit we're gonna do is answering a few questions. Do I work both day shift and night shift? Yes. I got hired for nights on my floor as a PRN tech, and I work both just because sometimes that's the way the scheduling works out, where I meet my shift requirements as a PRN employee. Sometimes it just works out better like that for me to work around school, and other times, so I just want to see, other times I just want to work a day shift, which is really rare, really rare. But here and there, I just add a day shift to make sure I can do other things that I want to do in life. Sorry, I got really distracted because there was some stuff happening outside of my window, so that just threw me off a little bit. But yeah, every now and then I'll add a day shift just to make sure that I can still do things that I want to do personally. So, which shift do I prefer? I prefer to work night shift. I just like my night shift team. I like the day shift team as well, but I've gotten to the point from working there so much at nighttime that I don't think I can switch back to only doing days. And I know that's a lot to say because I'm a student and clinicals are during the day, school is during the day, but that's why nights work for me. And I also feel like every now and then a nice calm night where you don't have to do as many baths, you don't have to worry about feedings. People usually don't want to get up and walk the halls at nighttime, so that's one of those things where you don't have as much to do. So sometimes I take advantage of that downtime and study a little bit while I'm at work. Question that I'm going to address is, what shift should you start on? If it's your first time ever working in healthcare or working in the hospital at all, I think that you should start on day shift. I say that because when you work day shift, you have to worry about feedings, meals, all of that. You have to worry about baths. You still worry about baths at night. At least in my facility, you worry about baths at night too. But you have to worry about when they're gonna get their bath. when are they gonna eat, how they're gonna eat. You have to think about the fact that there's physical therapy, occupational therapy, the doctors and residents are doing their rounding, family members are there visiting, visitors are there. There's just so much more that happens during the day. And personally, I think that working in a hospital, if it's your first time ever, you should experience that. Just so that you know, like, okay, this is what the pace of a day will be like. This is something that only happens during the daytime because physical therapy is not there at night. Occupational therapy isn't at night. Just things like that to consider, because it does make a difference between how your shifts function. The other reason is, if you want to, you can switch later, and you'll have a little bit more knowledge going into working nights because you'll fully understand the whole scope of the job. So even though I started out on nights on my floor, I worked days other places, and I just feel like I was like, okay, I can do nights, like that's fine, and I understand my duties as a CNA. So it wasn't one of those like, yeah, she's training, but she doesn't seem like she knows that much. Because sometimes that does happen, and you have to be trained a little bit longer, which isn't a bad thing, but having that flexibility to switch back and forth and understanding like, okay, this patient gets dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This patient may get dialysis Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And understanding how to work around that, understanding how to work around the doctors coming in and out of the rooms, or respiratory treatments and other things. You just have to pick it up and keep going, really. Work around the interruptions, because there are a lot of more interruptions during the day. All right, so let's get into these pros and cons. The number one best thing ever about working day shift is that you get to sleep at normal time. You sleep at nighttime. You don't have to worry about loud noises or the sun peeking through your curtains or anything of that nature. Your body is still on its normal circadian rhythm, so you are less likely to be exhausted. That by far is the best benefit of working day shift, in my opinion. The next thing about day shift is that there are a lot more resources on hand. You have more transport options if you need to transfer a patient to another floor, if your patient has to go to dialysis, if they need to go get a CT scan, an MRI, surgery, all of the things. You have help to get them to and from within a timely manner, because that is a big part of the things as well that happen while you're working in healthcare. Sometimes you're on a time crunch, especially if you start discharging a patient, you're on a time crunch. So that is one of the benefits of having more resources. You also have the doctors, nurse practitioners, physical therapists, respiratory therapists, occupational therapists, so many other people in essential parts of the healthcare team, the residents. So many more parts of the healthcare team are on hand during the day. So it's a lot easier for everyone to kind of come together and collaborate or discuss changes in how the patient's care is going to proceed and things of that nature. So at night, not all of these people are there in person, and typically there's someone on call or something. So having the people in person, you kind of get things done a little bit faster, or you can find the best result for the patient's care proceeding a little bit quicker. But you get the results, and that's nice. You still get results at nighttime too, but you just kind of have, just kind of have a little bit better of a cohesiveness in the daytime. Another thing about day shift is that there is more happening. So because you have these more resources, that can also kind of equate more interruptions, which it typically does. But there's more happening during the day. You have the cafeteria open all day, so you don't have to worry about if you forget some food, you can still get food. You have, like, if they're doing an employee event or some kind of in-service or some sort of learning opportunity through the hospital for employees, that typically happens during the day. So you actually have time to go do some of these things between your patient care. If they're doing some sort of giving back to the employees where they do like massages or therapy dogs or something during the day, you have time to pause for just a little bit, because usually it's literally a little bit, and go do those things and enjoy it, versus nights when those things typically don't happen all the time. Okay, so the other two things, I just have two more for day shift, are that you hear the important information first. So if there is something that is very important and everyone needs to know it so that you can do your job a little bit better, you hear that information first, because you're there during the day. Though they may send out emails, which they typically do, someone is going to tell you too while you're there in the daytime. And whether that be the nursing director, the hospital supervisor for nursing for that day, the house manager, your charge nurse, your nurse manager on your unit, there's going to be some kind of way that you get that information, especially because huddle happens in the morning. And then the final thing for days is that you're less tired on your days off. So since you sleep during the normal time at night, you don't have to worry about your day off kind of being cut in half. Since you're sleeping at nighttime, you wake up and still have a full day. Typically you'll wake up earlier in the day because you're so used to being up to get to work by 6:30, 7 in the morning. So you're less tired on your days off, and you still have that full day. Even if you do sleep in a little bit, you have the whole day to enjoy. You don't have to worry about not being able to get some stuff done, and it's just nice to be able to enjoy full days, multiple days off in a row when you work day shift, versus nights when you have days off or a day off. It's basically like you have half a day because you're sleeping during the day, and then you sleep again during the next day before you go back to work, or whatever the case may be. So you don't really have that full time. Alright, so now let's jump into the nights portion of this video. I also only have 5 things for my nights portion. As you already know, if you watched my previous videos about working in a hospital during a pandemic and having to get tested during said pandemic, you know, we can't really say that word right now on YouTube, but you know what's going on. If you've seen those videos, you know that I work nights. I love working nights. Personally, I don't know why, I love working my nights. I don't know if I'll ever switch back to days. So the first thing about night shift is there are less people and there is less chaos as well on nights. And I say that to say it can and will still get insanely crazy busy. Yes, I said insanely crazy. But it does get insanely busy, super crazy sometimes at night. but it's a lot less chaos and a lot less busy because you have less interruptions. You don't have as many people coming in and out of patients' rooms during the night. Family members typically are gone unless they're staying overnight, but they're usually sleeping at the same time as the patient. So it just makes things run a little bit more smoothly, in my opinion. But there is like the downside to having to call or something depending on what you need, or having that wait time. That's the downside to there being less people at night, but I still feel like the less chaos it's worth it, in my opinion. So the next thing about nights is that you have more time to look up your patient and really understand why they are in the hospital, what they're there for. You can review their diet orders, if they've changed, if they're gonna be NPO at a certain time. You have more time to look these things up between doing your rounds and vitals and answering call bells and all of that. You have more time to fully understand everything that you need to do for this patient so they can get better and they can go home or wherever they were at before they came in. The next thing is the shift differential. That is a big part of why a lot of people go so hard for night shift. Does it make a difference? Yes. Is that the main reason that I like working nights? No. Do I think that once I start working as an RN, it'll make a significant difference? Yes. But the shift differential between days and nights is a pretty decent amount. Like, if I only work days and for 2 weeks or pay period, and I only work nights for the next pay period, my personal paycheck would be short. I'm not sure about how much because I haven't done that before, but I know for a fact that my paycheck would be a little bit less than it usually is because we have an added amount to what we make for nights. Even though my general pay rate per hour would stay the same, that extra, it does make a difference to your income. Some people feel like it's a significant enough difference to not want to work days. I'm not sure about that. And some people feel like they would rather work days and make less and still sleep on a regular schedule than sacrificing that sleep, and sometimes that can affect your health and all of that from working nights. So that's another thing to consider. If you know that you get a little groggy or sometimes it might physically affect your health from working nights, don't only consider the money, consider you too. You can't take care of anybody else if you don't take care of yourself. So the next thing about nights is that you have time to go out and do stuff during the day if you want to before you go to work. You have time for daytime activities, daytime errands, daytime things. When you work days, you're in the hospital from the time the sun rises until the time the sun sets. When you work nights, you have all that time before you come in to either sleep or maybe go to the dentist or go do some errands, hang out with your kids if you have them, hang out with your friends if you want to, hang out with your family. You have time to do stuff while the sun is still up and out in its full form, versus working days where you might not have as much time to do things because you get to work and it's dark sometimes. You leave work and it's dark sometimes. So that's one of the things about night shift that I like. There are some days where I'll wake up early, go to the grocery store or something, come home, take another shower, go back to sleep, and then wake up for work and feel fine. So that's one of the benefits, that you have time to go do stuff while the sun is still up. And the last thing is, on nights, you have a little bit of a different kind of teamwork aspect. So during the day, everyone's so busy. I am the type of person, like, I don't mind asking for help, but when I work day shift, sometimes I do feel guilty asking people to help me because we're all busy. We all have things we need to get done. Everyone's trying to do what they can to give the patient the best care and best experience that they want and need to have. But sometimes you just get so busy that you might need someone to go run in a room for you because someone accidentally hit their call light and turn it off, or someone needs to go to the bathroom and you're helping someone else to the bathroom at the exact same time. Sometimes you just need help. And at nighttime, I feel like because there's not as much going on, I don't feel as bad for asking people I work with on my team to kind of help me here and there, because we're not as busy as we would be during the day because there's not all of those interruptions and all of the extra people. So that's the thing for me, that I feel like I'm not afraid to ask for help, or I don't feel guilty asking for help when I really need it at nighttime. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope that my information was beneficial to you. This is just from my perspective as a healthcare tech, CNA I, working in a hospital while I'm still in school. I personally feel like working nights works best for me with school because I still have time to get some studying and everything done during the day and still sleep and be okay to go to work at night. But if you made it this far, comment down below what shift you prefer. Put a little sun if you like day shift, or moon if you're a night shift person like me. And let me know if there are any other videos that you want to see that I haven't done yet. Be sure to like this video and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all stay safe.